What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Vegas 74, Kyra France versus Albazi. Now, first things first, as always, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button if you're new or just haven't yet, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any new videos that I put out or live streams throughout the week. And leave a comment below on your favorite picks, your bets that you're going to do this week. That way it helps out my video and all that good stuff. So it's been a while. Seems like it's been forever since UFC Vegas 73. Let me get to that screen real quick here. So I'm going to quickly go over the fights. I know it's been a couple weeks and I'm probably going to forget a little bit of them. But for my picks, I ended up going 6-6, which isn't the greatest, but for my bets, I went 3-3, and ended up winning plus 0.72 units profit. So a little bit of a win there, not the greatest again. So it was one of those cards where a lot of stuff kind of went a little the other way that I thought. But like I said, let's go through them real quick. The first fight, which is the most important fight of this card, was Themba versus Sato. Themba looked really good, used his wrestling really well, landed a very good shot in the second round and put down Sato, but Sato was tough enough to get back up and finish the fight. But Themba pretty much dominated him for 3 rounds. And Cody, I know you're still there and you love that this fight, and I got to get that Chewy bet from you. So maybe we'll see about when we're going to do that one. But good win from Themba. Ended up winning one of my bets too as well. So good win from him. Natalia Silva versus Leonardo. Silva is a monster. If you didn't know that already, she looked amazing. This was just a mismatch from the beginning. This fight should never have been went or signed or anything like that. Natalia is way better than Victoria, and she proved it. Her striking is dangerous, super quick, super powerful. Like total mismatch, and you saw why she was a -1,000 favorite, so there you go. Good win from her, though, too. Chase Hooper versus, Fiore? Hooper looked good, still needs to work on that striking, though, but he was able to gas out Fiore in the grappling department, and Fiore just didn't have any cardio to back it up, so Hooper ended up winning that one pretty good, and, we'll see what happens with him in the next fight. Rodrigo Nascimento versus Latifi. Kind of a boring fight, if I remember correctly. It was a close fight, and I picked and bet Nascimento, so I was happy he won by split. I didn't think it was a split. I thought it was pretty 29-28 clear cut, but um, good win from Nascimento. He's not the greatest fighter, but he definitely should have beat Latifi for sure, and he did. Urbina versus Kosuke. Good win from Urbina. I did want to change my pick, but I never changed my picks because I wanted to change it to Urbina after that big weight miss. And as you see, why Kosuke did not look good at all. Like I don't know if he was hurt coming in, maybe that's why he missed weight or what. But Urbina took advantage of it. Was kicking to the body and body shots and got him out of there in the second round. So good win from him. And we'll see what happens with him. Kovacevic versus Demopoulos. Kovacevic looked very good, and I was kind of surprised Vanessa didn't try to go for the grappling as much as she didn't. If you want to say, she did try in the third round, but did nothing got going. But by that time, she was already losing 2 rounds. So Carolina was just racking up those points. Good striking, and she looked better than some of her other fights that she barely won recently. So gotta give her that. I had a Vanessa Demopoulos bet, and that was a bad one. Borshev versus Maashate. Great win from Borshev. He was putting on a striking clinic with basically one eye because he got poked, and I'm surprised that wasn't point taken because that was a pretty bad one. I think he was bleeding inside of his eyelid from his inside. So he only had one eye. I think he even said he couldn't really see that well, and he still put on a striking clinic. And Maashate, I know he's super young, but I think he needs to go back to the lab, if you want to say, and work on a couple things. Maybe try to get some grappling and wrestling going because I don't think his striking is all that great. So Diego Vieira versus Michael Johnson. This was a crazy. Oh, I had Michael Johnson bet the 3.3 and a half spread, and when he got knocked out, I was just in shock. I knew that that's how the night was gonna probably end for me. Luckily it didn't like that, but good win from Diego. Good overhand right there that landed. And I'm surprised. Michael Johnson is a tough dude. I mean, he gets submitted, but he doesn't really get knocked out. I think that was his second knockout in his career. So pretty crazy. Buckley versus Fiallo. Good win from Buckley. Um, the weight cut going down to welterweight didn't seem like to bother him as much as I thought it may have. And I did pick Fiallo, but that was just, I mean, I wasn't super confident. I was just rolling the dice. So, but Fiallo did have some good shots here and there, but I mean, Buckley was pretty much winning the first round, and he got the head kick out in the second round. It was just too athletic for Fiallo. I think Fiallo is just a little bit too slow, and Buckley just used that against him. Godinez versus Decote. I did think Loopy won. It was closer than the 30-27 that one judge gave. I will say that. Round one was Loopy all day, but rounds two and three were very close. And I thought Decote got one of those rounds at least. Which if that one judge didn't give Loopy the 30-27, I would have won one of my other bets. But I'm still a little salty about that. I thought Decote did enough in the second or even the third round to win a round. So it is what it is. But Loopy looked a little bit better with her striking. She's improving. She did try to go for a couple takedowns, if I remember correctly, but Emily had good takedown defense, and she didn't get to the ground too long. So um, that's that one. Anthony Hernandez versus Edmund Shabazian. Hernandez just did what he did: pressure, pace, cardio, grappling. He's going to be in your face 24/7. That's what he did, and he basically just outworked Edmund for the first 2 minutes of the first round were sketchy, but after that, it was all Hernandez. So good win from him. And then Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. Mackenzie Dern 2.0. Like she came out, striking looks better than ever. She had some power behind those shots. Push forward. She got some takedowns, not the greatest technique wise, but she got the fight to the mat a couple times. So that was good. Almost got a couple different times of submission on Hill. If she would have had maybe 30 seconds on both of those times, she would have probably got an arm bar or something like that. But she looked very good. One convincingly unanimous, and that I mean that was a shock to me. I didn't think she was going to look that good. I did pick her to win, but I wasn't super confident. Well, good win from her, and we'll see what happens in her next fight because she looks great. And that was UFC Vegas 73. Let's go to my bets real quick. Like I said, I had the Demopoulos bet, lost that one. I had Themba, won that one. Johnson plus 3.5 spread, lost because he got knocked out. I won the Hernandez Nascimento parlay. That was my most confident bet of the card. Borishev, and then the over in the Loopy and Decote fight. I won that one. And then I also did the under. I lost this one because I really thought Decote won one of those rounds. I really wish I would have won that one, but it is what it is. Ended up winning 0.72 units up there. So hopefully this card we're gonna get a little bit more than that, maybe get 3 or 4. That's what my goal is. But let's get to it. UFC Vegas 74. Let's drop all the way down here. Lot of different fights, a lot of withdrawals, a lot of injuries. So some of these guys are coming in short notice. But the first fight we got here is going to be Maxim Grishin versus Felipe Lins. Grishin is 32, 9-2, 39 years old, 6'3 with a 76-inch reach. And Lins is 16 and 5, 37 years old, 6'2, 78-inch reach. So Grishin is a solid striker, good with decent power in his hands. He's got good technique, good boxing, throws good combos. Good leg kicks as well. He's not much of a grappler, but he's not the worst if he gets taken down. He can probably survive, but he's not going to initiate any grappling situations. He's going to stay on the feet and try to make this a kickboxing fight, basically. He's durable and decent cardio. Linz is he's a good striker as well. He's got really good power in his hands. He's got good grappling. If he does go for use the grappling, his takedowns are okay. They're not fantastic, but um, he hasn't really used a lot of his grappling as of late, except in the Prochnio fight. Later on, I think when he was gassed out, and that's another thing too. I think his cardio, he does slow down after the first round a little bit too much for my liking, but he's dangerous in that first round. So that's one thing you got to look out for. But I think this fight's going to last not as long as some people think. It'll be fun, But I'm gonna go with the more technical striker who I think is gonna be able to survive the first 2 or 3 minutes of the first round, and I think that's gonna be Grishin here. I will be sweating it though in the first 2 minutes though, because Felipe is dangerous. He goes for it. He pushes um, a crazy pace in the first round, and he goes for that knockout early on. But Grishin's tough. He can survive, I believe. He can maybe catch him with a good counter too when he comes in. So um, with my pick, I'm going to go with Grishin. Not super confident, but for my bets, oh yeah, I'll also say he wins by knockout later on in the second round, maybe when Lynn's kind of gets a little gassed out. But bets, I would maybe look at the under 2.5. I think both these guys. I think Lynn's would finish early, and if Lynn's does not get the finish, I think Grishin will be able to get him out of there eventually. You can do the money lines if you're on either one of these guys. It's pretty close to a pick 'em. So I'd probably stay away unless you like Lynn's as the money line. That's probably what I would do the values there. But I like the under. I want to see what the under 2.5 would be for a parlay, maybe. And it might even be set at 1.5. So we'll see what happens with that one. Next one we got is Luan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear. Lacerda is 12 and 2, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 73-inch reach. And Blackshear is 12, 5 and 1, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. So Lacerda is a solid grappler. He's got very good submissions. He did show us in his last fight against Cody Stamen. He has got pretty good stand up. He's got good striking, throws tons of volume, good power. He can be a little aggressive at times, which that opens him up for counters. He can be a little bit hittable too because he's a little too aggressive sometimes on the feet. Pretty good cardio too, so I think he can go all 3 rounds. Nothing to worry about that. Blackshear is also a very good grappler himself. He's got good submissions. His striking is pretty solid too. He looked good in his last couple fights, even though he didn't get the win. I think he took this short notice Basharat fight, but that's always going to be a hard fight. Those Basharat brothers are tough. And then Yusuf Zalal, he was looking good in the first 2 rounds, and then I think he kind of gassed out in the third. But or actually, no, it was the other way around. I think he did really good in the third. One of those two, but he got a draw, unfortunately. But this is going to be a close fight, very close fight, I think, which is the line, says to pick them basically. But both guys have really good grappling. I think that's going to cancel each other out. And I do think this fight's going to play out on the feet unless someone gets hurt or something, then they're going to go to their grappling. So I personally like Lacerda's boxing and striking a little bit more than Blackshear. So I'm going to go with Lacerda here. Both guys are dangerous, though. Both guys they're really good fighters, but just gonna go with Lacerda. I just liked a little bit more of his striking. He's got good takedown defense as well. If Blackshear tries to go for some takedowns and get this fight to the mat, and if it does, Lacerda knows what to do. He's a very, very good grappler, but very close fight. Both guys are super tough and durable, so I don't see anyone finishing one another. So I'm gonna go with Lacerda to win by decision. And bets, I would look at the over, see what the over's at. It might be set at 1.5, which would be a little bit crazy, but both guys are good finishers on the mat, so it might be. And then the money line, if you like either one of these guys, they're pretty close to a pick 'em. So I think that's a pretty decent one either way. But I like Lacerda though. I think I'd pay the extra little juice for the money line, but we'll see what happens throughout the week for this one. Next one is going to be Jin Yu Frey versus Elise Reed. Frey is 11 and 8, 38 years old, 5'3" with a 65-inch reach. And Reed is 6 and 3, 30 years old, 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. So Frey is a pretty good striker. She's got good grappling, but she doesn't really use it as much as she probably should, let's be honest. She's got good cardio and she's pretty durable, except in the last fight when she lost to Polyana Viana. That was a crazy knockout by her, though. And I'm glad she took at least 6 months off because that was a pretty bad knockout. And she was out, she was down on the ground for a while. Um, she can be a little low volume at times, though, on the feet. So that's a little bit worrisome for me as well. And then Reed is a pretty good striker. She definitely wants to keep the fight on the mat or on the feet. I'm sorry. She does not want to get this fight to the mat because she doesn't really know what she's doing down there, especially if she's on her back. She doesn't really have the greatest takedown defense or get up game. So if Frey can get the takedown here, I think she can basically control her for the whole round because that's the only time Reed's going to be able to get up. But another close, weird fight here. It's women's MMA. Anything can happen. Both are not trustworthy at all. Both have had their ups and downs in their UFC careers, but don't bet this fight. I would not bet this fight. I think anything can happen in this fight, but I'm gonna give Frey one more chance here. I'm not the biggest Elise Reed fan, but I do think Frey has the grappling advantage, and if she does go for takedowns and use her grappling in this fight, at least mix it in here and there. I do think she's gonna have a little bit more better of a chance to win. But if she does just make this a striking fight, it's gonna be close either way. So with my pick, give me Frey. I just think she has a little bit more ways to win. She's got a little bit more tools in her toolbox, but she's gonna have to bring that wrestling and grappling here. If not, it's gonna be close, like I said. But I'm gonna say by decision. Um, Another reason why I don't want to bet the over in this fight, I will say, is because if this fight does get to the mat, Frey's got good grappling and good submissions, and Reed gets finished when she's on the mat. So that's why I'm going to stay away. Otherwise, I would love the over 2.5, but I just don't trust Reed enough if she gets taken down to stay alive. Otherwise, I would bet that over 2.5 all day. But I'm gonna stay away from this fight from betting perspective. But the pick is gonna be Frey, and I'll say by decision. Why not? But it wouldn't shock me if she gets a submission or something like that. Next one we got is gonna be Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz Jr. Santos is 10-2, 28 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. And Munoz Jr. is 12-2, 30 years old, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. All right. So Santos is a very good striker with good power. He has good knees in the clinch, good elbows, pushes forward. He has good grappling as well, but he's just been on the feet as of late, doing his job there. So he can be a little hittable at times. And he just comes from the same gym as Charles Oliveira, and he looks and his fighting style is exactly like that. So that's something to think about when you're picking this guy because I think he's pretty good. Munoz Jr. though, he's a well-rounded guy himself. He's got solid striking with good power. He's got pretty good boxing, good wrestling and takedowns and grappling, but he doesn't really have the greatest takedown ability, so he does struggle a little bit getting those takedowns, but he's good on the mat if he gets his fight to the mat. So this fight was supposed to happen in, I think a few weeks ago at UFC 288, and I think Santos withdrew. And I want to say it was due to injury. I don't know what injury, but that's something to think about in this fight because I was going to pick. Well, I still am picking Santos, but I picked him last week. But I'm not as confident. I'm just a little worried about that injury and why he withdrew. And I don't know if he's 100% or anything like that. But I do think he's going to have the striking advantage a little bit on the feet, on the mat. And I do think Santos is gonna be better on the mat too. So the only thing that worries me is maybe Munoz Jr. catches him when Santos comes in a little bit too aggressively and maybe drops him and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm gonna go with Santos to win. I'm gonna say he does gets that knockout in the second round. For bets, I mean, if you want to test your luck with Santos at -200, I think that's what it was around last time they were supposed to fight. And then maybe look at the unders. Santos is gonna go for it. I mean, he's tough and durable, but he's been dropped a couple times. Munoz, same thing. He's got power in his hands. He can get the takedowns, stuff like that. So maybe look at the unders too. Would be shocked if it went over either, but something to think about there. So give me Santos. I'll say by second round knockout. Next one we got is going to be Andre Orlovsky versus Dontel Mays. Orlovsky is 34 and 21, 44 years old, 6'3 with a 77-inch reach. And Mays is 9 and 5, 31 years old, 6'6 with a 81-inch reach. So Orlovsky, we all know him by now. He's 44 years old now. He's got okay striking, good with good kicks, good leg kicks. His cardio fades. He's 44 years old. So after the first round, he kind of gets a little sloppy. His striking defense kind of goes out the window. He's very low volume. He kind of survives after the first round, round and a half. Um, he's pretty durable, but in his last fight, he got rocked by DeLima, he went all out for it, DeLima did, and he got the club and sub basically. Um, and he can be taken down pretty easily nowadays too, Arlovski. So it's something to think about. Mays, on the other hand, he's got decent striking. He's going to be the more powerful guy. He's got good power if he lands. He's a little low by himself. He can wrestle. He can take his opponents down, but sometimes he doesn't use it for some reason. So he's got a little bit questionable fight IQ, and yeah, he's got good ground and pound when he gets to fight to the mat too. So he's got a couple submission wins under his belt too. So he knows what to do when he gets on top of his opponents. So this is a very interesting matchup, if you want to say. It's a pick 'em for a reason. Um, I'm gonna go with Mays here. I'm gonna go with the younger guy. I usually go with Orlovsky in these low level heavyweight fights, but I do think Mays is gonna be too big for Arlovski. I think he's gonna be too strong for him as well in the clinch. He can get those takedowns pretty easily. And after that, I think, Mays can land a good shot on Arlovski. Like I said, later in the fight, his striking defense kind of goes out the window. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too if Mays gets those takedowns and gets some control time and either gets Arlovski out of there or it goes to decision like a lot of these do. And maybe it's a split decision too. So with my pick, though, give me Mays. I will say, you know what? I'm gonna say it goes to decision, but I think Mays is gonna be able to win this one. For the bets, though, I would stay away from this fight. I don't trust it. But maybe if you want to do the over, it's gonna be a sweaty over, though. I'll tell you that. But God, I can't bet that fight. I mean, God, no, just stay away. Next one we got is gonna be John Castaneda versus Moon Gafurov. Castaneda is 19 and 6, 31 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. And uh, Gavarov is 18 and 4, 27 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. So Castaneda, he's a well-rounded fighter. He's got solid striking, good wrestling, good takedowns, and good cardio, and he's durable. Last fight, he did kind of gas out a little bit against Santos, and he got knocked out in the second round, I believe. So because he was trying to go for the finish in the first round, I think he had Santos knocked down once, I think. But normally he does have good cardio and he's durable. And Gafurov, he's making his UFC debut. It's going to be on short notice, but he's a well-rounded fighter himself. He's got good cardio. He's durable. He can slow down as the fight goes on a little bit, but I mean, he's basically, like I said, he's good everywhere, but I wouldn't say he's great at anything. So, um, I'm gonna go with Castaneda here. It's just tough for a UFC debut coming in on short notice against a pretty solid guy who's been in the UFC. So I do think Castaneda will win this fight. It will be a little bit of a tough matchup for Castaneda early, maybe, but I think as the fight goes on, I'm wondering if Gafarov is going to be able to. His cardio is going to hold up a little bit, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Castaneda to win by decision. I don't think Gafarov has been finished in his career. No, he has not. He lost all four losses have come by decision. So I'm going to say Castaneda wins this one by decision. And yeah, for bets, I don't know what the line is for Castaneda yet. I don't think it's up yet. But look at that money line, see if it's worthy enough to do it. Maybe look at the over as well. I don't think Gafarov will be able to finish Castaneda either. So we'll see what happens with that one. Next one we got is going to be Zaleski versus Nurmagomedov. Zaleski is 23 and 7, 36 years old, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. And Nurmagomedov is 17-3 and 1, 33 years old, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. Sorry about that. Burped. Zaleski, though, is a very good striker. He's got tons of power in the hands. He's got solid grappling, but he's mainly wants to keep the fight on the feet. He's got good cardio as well. He's 36 years old. He had a good fight against Saint Denis, but that was the fight where the ref basically let Saint Denis almost die. And I'm that's still a crazy fight to me. But I mean, he's had some good wins. It's been a while. He hasn't fought in about a year and a half, so that's something to think about. He's 36 years old. And Nurmagomedov, he's more so a striker, but he's pretty well-rounded guy himself. He's not super dangerous anywhere on the feet or even on the mat, but he's durable. He's got good takedowns. He's got good wrestling. He has good control, top control when he does get those takedowns. And on the feet, though, he's more so like a point fighter. He doesn't really have the greatest power in his hands too. So this is another close fight. The line says so itself, but I'm gonna go with Zaleski. I like his striking a little bit more so, and I think he's more dangerous. He's gonna have more power, and even on the mat, I think he's more dangerous too. But Nurmagomedov, though, he's gonna be durable. He's probably gonna be going for takedowns because I don't know if he's gonna be able to hang on the feet, and that's when he usually shoots for takedowns is when he can't hang on the feet. But would it shock me though if Nurmagomedov out wrestles him for 3 rounds and makes this a boring fight? No, because he's done that before. But I like Zaleski. I think he's gonna be going for the finish. He's gonna be landing the better shots, and I do think he'll be safe on the mat and maybe get a couple reversals and get back up and maybe he can find a submission too. I think Nurmagomedov has been submitted a couple times at least. Yeah, he's been submitted 2 times out of his 3 losses. So I'm gonna go with Zaleski here. I know a lot of people are gonna be under Magomedov, but I will let you guys know if you are on Zaleski, I would wait till later in the week to bet it because a lot of people are gonna probably pick Nurmagomedov and they're probably gonna be betting him because of the name value alone. And I think that line, I don't know if it's a plus 120 right now, but I can guarantee you the line is probably going to be close to flipped by the time the fight comes around. So maybe wait a little bit for Zaleski money line if you like it, but I do think he's going to win a close decision and maybe bet the over too. That's about what I would look at for this one. All right, this fight is going to be a good one. Kutateladze versus Jamie Mullarkey. Kutateladze, hopefully I'm saying this right. Sorry, Saba. 12 and 3, 31 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. And Mullarkey is 16 and 5, 28 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. So, Garam, very good technical striker, good power in his hands. He got very powerful kicks, very durable, has good takedown defense. He can wrestle if he wants to, but more times than not, he'll keep it on the feet. And, he can be a little hittable at times. Sometimes his head movement isn't the greatest, so he can get popped every now and then with a good jab. Um, but Mullarkey is a well-rounded fighter himself. He's got good striking, he's got pretty good wrestling and takedowns, he's durable, but he can get rocked as well. He can, sometimes his head movement isn't the greatest too. We've seen him get dropped a couple times lately in some of his fights, against, Michael Johnson. He got dropped a couple times. So I like Garam a lot in this matchup. This is one of my most confident picks of the night. I think he's just the better fighter everywhere. I think he's the better striker. I don't think he's going to be, if Jamie Mullarkey tries to go for any wrestling or takedowns, I don't think he's going to be able to get Garam down at all. I don't think Jamie's wrestling is good enough to do that. And I think this is just a very bad matchup for Mullarkey. So give me Garam to win this one. I'm going to say by decision because, like I said, Malarkey is normally durable and tough. He might get dropped once, but he's going to stick it out as long as he can, and he's not going to go out easy or anything like that. But Garam is just a monster. So give me Garam to win by decision bets. I like Garam money line minus 300. It's a good parlay piece. Over. I'm going to look at the over and see what that price is. And yeah, I think Garam's going to win this one pretty clearly. Next one should be another fun one. We got Karine Silva versus Ketlin Souza. Silva is 15 and 4, 29 years old, 5'5 with a 67-inch reach. And Souza is 13 and 3, 27 years old, 5'3. Not sure his reach, and it doesn't say there. So let's just say it's a 65-inch reach. Totally guessing. But Silva, she was supposed to fight, I think, a couple weeks ago. For whatever reason, that fight didn't happen. But Silva is a very dangerous fighter on the feet and definitely on the mat. Great grappler with good submissions. Her striking is pretty good, but she definitely wants to get the fight to the mat. So she uses her striking more so to set up takedowns and get the fight to the mat. but she does have power in her hands too. So it's not like she doesn't have striking, but she'd rather grapple. And Souza is making her UFC debut. She's a solid striker. She likes to push forward, has a good power in her hands. She can grapple and wrestle, but she wants to keep this fight on the feet mainly. And this should be another fun fight. And it's a pretty, I think Silva right now is minus 200 range, but I'm going to go with Silva again. She's, I think she's way more dangerous on the feet, on the mat, and she should be able to get this fight to the mat. I don't think Souza's takedown defense is that great. And once this fight gets to the mat, I think it's going to be Silva all day. Let's see. Souza has been submitted once, and she's been knocked out twice. So in her three losses, she's been finished, and Silva finishes all of her 15 wins have come by finish. So you know where I'm going with this. I think Silva's going to win inside the distance. I think that's a good bet as well. Look at the unders in this fight. I wouldn't. Hmm. You can throw Silva in a parlay. I'm I'm not super comfortable or confident with that one. I think it's okay, but I'd rather just do the Silva inside the distance bet, or maybe look at the under, like I said. But give me Silva to win. I'm gonna say she wins by submission in the late first or early second round. Should be a good fun fight though. All right. Next one we got is going to be Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. Elliott is 18, 12, and 1, 36 years old, 5'7 with a 67-inch reach. And Altamirano is 12 and 2, 32 years old, 5'8 with a 70.5-inch reach. All right. So Elliott is a pretty well-rounded fighter. He likes to push forward, likes to use that his cardio as a weapon, if you want to say. He's not the most technical of strikers, but he does have good power in his hands. He's got good takedowns and good grappling, and he's durable. And like I said, he's got good cardio as well. And Victor Altamirano, he's a well-rounded fighter himself. He's got okay striking and wrestling. His striking defense though is a little questionable to me. He does mix in the takedowns when needed if he's either tired or if he's in trouble or if his opponents are a little too aggressive. But he can be hittable on the feet as the fight goes on, especially. I think his cardio fades him a little bit, but he's durable and he can be taken down as well. So I'm sure everyone already knows if you're on MMA Twitter what's going on with Tim Elliott nowadays. And so he's got some extra motivation, if you want to say, coming into this fight, and I'm all about that. So give me Tim Elliott to win this one. And even before all of that stuff that happened recently, I liked him in this matchup before, but I even like him even more now. So he's got I think he's the better overall fighter. I think definitely has way more experience. He's got the better cardio later in the fights, and with that extra motivation, I think he's gonna try to get this fight, finish this fight. Or if Victor can survive, then good for him. But I'd be worried if I was Victor right now. I think Tim Elliott's coming for blood. So give me Elliott. I'm gonna say by decision. Wouldn't be shocked though if it's gonna be like maybe a ground and pound knockout or a submission. But bets wise, I like Elliott money line minus 150. I think it's a little bit higher than that. Look at the overs as well. So something you could think about there as well. Next fight is going to be Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. Miller is 35 and 17, 39 years old, 5'8 with a 71-inch reach. And Gordon is 19 and 6, 34 years old, 5'9 with a 68-inch reach. So let me get to my thing. So we all know Jim Miller nowadays. He's a very well-rounded fighter. He's been showing off some of his striking as of late. He's got good power in those hands. He's got good submissions, good club and sub guillotines, all that good stuff. He's got decent wrestling. He's durable. His cardio is pretty good still at 39 years old, but he's still doing good for 39, let's put it that way. I don't think he's slowing down out too much. So, Gordon, he's taking this fight on short notice because I believe Miller was supposed to fight somebody else, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But he is coming back from this Bobby Green accidental clash of heads through literally a month ago where he was knocked out cold on the mat, which is very concerning, but he's a pretty well-rounded fighter. We'll get to this in a little bit. Solid striking, grappling. He's not really a finisher. He's been finished in, I believe, in all of his losses except his last one against Paddy Pimblett, which he should have won. We all know that. So weird fight here. I don't know why Gordon's taking this fight on such short notice after he got basically knocked out with a headbutt. And that worries me because if he was taking this fight without that knockout clash of heads, I would probably pick Gordon and feel a little bit more comfortable. But even then, I mean, I know Garrett or Jared's the younger guy here, but I still think Miller has stuff left in the tank, and Gordon's just not dangerous enough for me. So give me Miller. He's gonna fight for your money. That's one good thing. He's an underdog. It's a pretty sizable underdog if it's plus 200. Sheesh. That's crazy if it is. I thought it was a little bit lower than that, like plus 150, but I'm gonna go with Miller. Yeah. I mean, I don't like that whole accidental headbutt thing coming back. Miller still has pop in his hands. He's got crazy sneaky guillotines. If this fight plays out on the feet, I mean, maybe Gordon has a slight advantage, but you got to be careful with that chin. So, with my pick, I'm going to say Miller gets that club and sub later in the fight, maybe in the second round. Bets, I mean, Miller at plus 200 looks pretty juicy. Other than that, I would probably stay away from this fight. There's a lot of red flags. I don't even like the over or the under. Normally, I would probably do the over, but I'm scared of Gordon's chin now. So, and Jim Miller is not gonna go out of there at all. Like, he's gonna give 150% every one of his fights. So, he's one of those guys where you feel safe with an underdog bet because he's not gonna just give up. Co-main event, we got Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. Caceres is 20 and 13, 34 years old, 5'10 with a 73.5-inch reach. And Pineda is 28 and 14, 37 years old, 5'7 with a 70-inch reach. So Caceres is a well-rounded fighter. He's got unorthodox striking, he's got good kicks, solid grappling if need be. Cardio is good. It's pretty durable. Um, at least as of late, but he's been submitted 7 times, but he's only been knocked out once. So, like I say, he's pretty durable, but the submission losses is a little bit of a red flag, especially in this fight because Pineda is a monster on the ground on the mat. So Pineda is a super dangerous fighter. He's got good striking with power, very good grappling and submission. His cardio is the issue, though. He's 37 years old. He looked really good in his last fight, though, against Tucker Lutz. And that submission, I believe, came in the second round, and he looked really, really good. But another interesting fight. Both guys can be dangerous, especially Pineda. But I'm gonna go with the underdog. I'm gonna go with Pineda to win this one. I think he can get Caceres on the mat eventually in the first round, and I think it's gonna be tough for Caceres to survive after that. But I will say this: after the first round and a half or 2 rounds, I think Caceres will probably take over the fight and probably maybe get a finish himself. But Pineda is a basically boom or bust guy. Like he has, he's been he only went to decision 5 times in his career, which is 42 fights, and he lost all of those decisions. So, I think this fight's not gonna go the distance. I think someone's gonna finish one another, and I'm gonna say Pineda gets the submission. Caceres been submitted 7 times in his career. That's not a good look, and Pineda's very good on the ground. So, if Caceres can survive, I can see him getting the finish himself too. So, with my pick, though, I'm gonna go with Pineda to win by submission. Bets, I would just look at the under. Think the under is going to be probably set at 1.5, but maybe 2.5. You can parlay that with some other bets, and I think that's super safe. But it should be a fun fight. And speaking of fun fights, we got Kai Kara France versus Amir Albazi. France is 24 and 10, 30 years old, 5'4 with a 66.5-inch reach. And Albazi is 16-1, 29 years old, 5'5", with a 68-inch reach. So Ty is a very good striker, very good technical boxing. He's durable. He's got amazing takedown defense and defensive grappling. He looked pretty good against Morono until Morono landed that huge leg kick to the liver and basically couldn't get up after that. And he's a solid guy to back. He's always going to be in the fight. He's going to fight for your money as well. Albazi is a very, very good grappler. He's got good striking on the feet, though, too. He's got good power. He's got very good submissions, obviously, good takedowns, but he hasn't really fought the greatest competition. Like, he fought a newcomer, Costa, Figueredo, the wrong Figueredo, Zalgas, solid win, Malcolm Gordon, Ryan Curtis. Like, those are for the flyweight division, and it's a pretty good division. That's like bottom half. He's having like this is a huge, huge step up in competition in a 5-round fight for Albazi. He's very good though, very good. But it's something to think about. And like I said, very fun fight here. Both guys are very good. And I know Albazi may be the more dangerous guy in this matchup, but what worries me a little bit though is this is a 5-round fight. And Albazi's I don't think he's never been in a 5-round fight, and I think he's only been to the, like, round 3 a few times, so he usually gets those 1st or 2nd round, finishes. So, we all know Kai France, he's tough to finish, like, I know, I mean, he's been submitted and knocked out 3 times, but he's a tough guy, like, especially against, Boncharin, um, that was crazy how he survived that. Whole grappling thing. So, I mean, Royval finished him with a guillotine. So, Royval's very sneaky though too. So, Albazi's just as sneaky though. But I'm gonna go for my pick though. Let's get back to it. For my pick, I'm gonna go with Kai France. I think he's gonna be the little bit better striker. He's got very good takedown defense and he's got very good defensive grappling if he does get taken down. So I'm not super worried Albazi submitting him unless it's maybe like a club and sub type of thing or something like super sneaky. But I think it's gonna be Albazi will be dangerous in the first couple rounds, but I think after that, I think Kai France should be able to take over the fight if he hasn't already and win a decision win. I think he's gonna win a decision win. Um, he just has to be safe in the first couple rounds, and after that, I think he should win this fight. For bets, though, I mean, you can do either money line. It's basically a pick 'em. Maybe look at the over, but it's dicey. If you're on the Albazi side, I don't think you would like the under. 'Cause I think that's the only way Albazi wins is he has to get a finish. I don't think he's gonna be able to win a decision win, against Kai France. He's tough like that. So very good fight though, but give me Kai France to win. I'll say he wins by decision. I'm still looking at that line though. I may bet Kai France, but we'll see. But all right, guys. Those were my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 74. Thank you everybody for watching as always. Um, be sure to click that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a comment below on your favorite fights you're looking forward to the most, who you think's going to win. If you don't like any of my picks, tell me I'm wrong on some of them. That's all good. Live show is going to be Thursday. I believe it's going to be on my channel, me and Cody, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time, as always. So turn on the notifications so you get notified when those pop up. And I think that's all I got for you today, guys. So until next time.